Hi there and welcome to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. I'm Nat Ryan. Today in the kitchen I'm going to show you how to make a favorite spread of mine, and that is lemon curd. Now ordinarily lemon curd contains butter, so if you have to be dairy free like me, then lemon curd typically is out for you, the ones that you can get at the store. So you kind of have to make your own if you really want it. I really love it. It's great with toast or on toasted English muffins. It's great to have with tea, just kind of like crumpets and stuff like that. You can use it as a filling for cakes or cupcakes or anything like that. You can put it on pound cake. It's really, really lovely. I adore it, but normally I can't eat it because of the dairy. So we're going to make a version today that has no dairy at all, and it's absolutely delicious. But before we do, I'd really like to ask you to do something for me. Can you please do me a favor? Like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. It's much appreciated. Okay, so for the lemon curd, you're going to need some margarine that does not have any dairy in it at all, like a vegan margarine. If it says vegan on there, then that's what you're looking for, because a lot of the margarines still contain milk ingredients. So if you have to be dairy free, that's no good. So we start with that. So we're going to measure off the amount you need. Now, in the recipe, you can find it on my website, but you measure off the amount you need. So there it is. I put it in a little baggie. And now I'm going to put this in my fridge freezer so that it gets nice and cold, because that is key. Like normally when they make lemon curd, they use cold butter, but margarine doesn't set as hard, right? So butter will be nice and hard in the fridge, but margarine is a little bit softer. So we're going to make that go a little harder by putting it in the fridge freezer for a while we're doing the other stuff. And then when we need it, we'll take it out. So this is what we're going to do right now. Oh, I can get the door open. There. So now it's in my fridge freezer, and we're going to do the rest of that we need, and we'll see that margarine later. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need a few eggs. And what we want out of those eggs is just the yolk. So we're going to have to crack it and separate the egg. So crack an egg open and try to get about half here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm putting the egg white in this little bowl in the middle here. But what I'd like to do is transfer the yolk from one half of the shell to the other. And what I also like to do is just take my fingers and put it right there. Now use clean hands. So you can see there's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that, but a little bit of egg white going through my fingers a bit. And then I'm left with the yolk, and then I'm putting it in this bowl right here. It's okay if the egg yolks break. That's no big deal. In the bowl. We don't want them in with the whites at all. And so we're going to carefully that in half like that. Whoop, I need that half. What am I doing? Then back to the other half. You can go back and forth a couple times. You've got to be really, really careful with that. That's why I like to use my fingers, actually, my hands. Okay, that yolk is trying to bust right now. So I'm just letting a little bit of that white, and then there, it's in the big bowl. See, it busted already, but oh, you got a little bit of yolk in there, but that's okay. What you don't want is egg white in here, with the egg yolks. So then we're going to go again, one more. See if I can do this without, when you do something on camera, and then, you've done it many times, but all of a sudden you're trying to do it on camera and it doesn't work. Okay, get out of that. There, I'm going to do it right in my hand here. See, you see how the egg white is like going right through? I got egg yolk again in my hand like that. That's okay. The egg white out, and then boop, in there. So I'm going to clean up my hands, and then we'll continue on. So these egg yolks is what we're going to use. We're going to leave it right in that bowl. Now we've got the egg whites, well, maybe with a little tiny bit of yolk, but what you can do with that, if you wanted to whip that up, you could make something else with that, like whipping up egg whites for some other recipe. Now you wouldn't want any of the yolk in for that, but what you can use your egg whites for too is just make an egg white omelet, or mix it with some other eggs to make like scrambled eggs or something like that. I'm just going to set those aside. And there we have it for the egg yolks, and that's what we're going to be working with next. Okay, so for lemon curd, you really want to use fresh lemon. So I've got this lemon here that I'm going to use. So a good sized lemon. The first thing I'm going to do is get the lemon peel off of here. So I'm going to zest my lemon. So these are nice little things like this. Now, if you don't have this, you can always peel out your lemon like you would do with an orange or anything, and then cut up your peel. But you really want to make sure you don't get too much of the white with it, right? Like the pith, you know, that's underneath. So we're going to go all around this lemon with my lemon zester. Smells amazing. I love the smell of lemon, fresh lemon. It's great. If you use it, it really doesn't work that well using a bottled lemon juice, because a lot of those lemon juices are made from concentrate. So basically it's lemon juice and they've dried it and then they've reconstituted it with water, which gets it's a different flavor entirely. It's not got the same flavor as you would with fresh lemon. So definitely, if you're going to make lemon curd, then buy a lemon, you know, right? May as well buy a lemon and do it right, eh? And lemons are usually not that expensive at the store to get. Like, especially if you're only buying like 1 or 2 lemons, this isn't going to be too hard to do. So here we go. We got most of that off of there. As you can see, there's a little bit, you know, looks more like that. Oh, here, we can get a little bit more there. Don't want to get too much white with it or anything. We want that yellow, that nice deep yellow color. So there we have the lemon curd, I'm sorry, not lemon curd, the lemon zest. So what we're going to do, and then what we're going to do, we're going to set this aside because I'm going to use that in a minute. But we're also going to cut this lemon because we want to get the juice out of this lemon next. So always get the zest off first before you cut it is a better idea. I'm going to cut this guy in quarters, like each half in quarters. And then I am going to, okay, get a bowl to put this in. And I've got this little contraption here. So what I do with that is actually we're going to put that there. And because it's a big lemon, I've had to make my pieces smaller. And then I just squeeze it. So it looks like a torture device of some kind, doesn't it? There, and then we just squeeze it and let the lemon juice come out. We get that one out. We go again. You know, we've got kind of like 8 pieces of lemon here to do. But yeah, because we want the juice of that one lemon. So pretty much, you know, that whole juice, as much of that juice as you can. There's other ways to get lemon juice, of course. You know, you can use one of those ones for one of those old-fashioned things for making like fresh squeezed orange juice or something like that. You could use that. You can squeeze it by hand. You could just have it in your hand and squeeze the lemon juice out of the lemon pieces. It's hard to get enough out of that though. If you're doing it that method, I would say buy an extra lemon and you know, make sure you're going to have enough lemon juice. So here we go. And we're halfway there. So yeah, because it's a big lemon, I'm like, okay, there we go. Had to cut it so tiny to get it in here, but this contraption works so well to get lemon juice out of lemons or limes, if you want limes, or even for oranges or whatever for your cooking. It's a bit messy with things, and also this kind of contraption will keep you from having you know, all the seeds. This is a lot of seeds in this lemon, so it'll keep the seeds from getting into your lemon juice, right? So you're not really having to. That wasn't a seed. I don't think so. Anyway, so I may have a seed in there actually, but mostly it'll save you from having seeds in there. And so we're going to use, let's get them out of the way. We're going to use the zest and we're going to use the lemon juice from these. So before we put everything together, one suggestion is to mix your lemon zest with the sugar that we're going to need for this recipe. So what I'm going to do is I've got it in there in this thing. Where's my cover for that? And I'm using the magic bullet. So something you can pulse it or mix it together. it'll make the lemon zest go smaller in here, and it will really bring out the oils of the lemon. So here we go. I shake it. Very loud, but a lot of fun. And you can see that it starts to get a little bit, makes the sugar a little bit yellow in there. Whoops. Oh, fiddly-dee. Okay, so that should be good. Pardon me. Very loud. And there we go. And then the sugar has lemon in with it. So you can see it kind of makes the sugar a little bit moist, but that's okay. And it's made those pieces of lemon curd small, or lemon, sorry, I keep saying that. Lemon zest smaller in there, and it's kind of blended the two. Oh, lovely. Smells lovely. Okay, so we're going to put everything together now. Okay, so here's where we're going to start mixing our ingredients together. So we have the egg yolks in that bowl, right? I'm going to take them out. I'm going to give them a light whisk. Now, if you have one of those emulsion mixers, you know, the kind that just you can put it right in, you can do it with one of those as well. I don't completely suggest that though, because with lemon curd, with these, you gotta feel it yourself. You know, like if you're using emulsion mixer, you're not feeling that, like you're not feeling how it goes. So we're gonna mix that sugar, you know, the sugar and the lemon zest, that was combination. We're putting that in with the egg yolks and giving that a good old whisk. Okay. And we want to give that like a really solid whisking, because we want that to start, you know, getting really well mixed together and getting a little bit lighter. So, yeah, give it a good old mix. Like I say, you could use a emulsion mixer, but I like to do this with my hand, like good old-fashioned whisk, because in a minute, it will be very important that you'll see why in a minute, because we're not done with this yet. So now, we've got that. So it's slightly lightening, so that's good. Now, we'll take our lemon juice. We're going to add a little bit of it and mix that little bit in. Okay. Okay, so now you can see it's a little bit more, you know, it's not as thick now, right? And then we're going to add a little bit more of the lemon juice, a little bit at a time. Okay. And we're going to add a little bit more. Got to do this gradually, because we don't want to shock those egg yolks into separating, because you got the acidity of that lemon juice. Oh, I see a little bit, a little tiny seed in there. Okay, I got it up. You don't want to shock the egg yolks into starting to do weird things from the acidity of this lemon juice, right? So this is why we do it gradually. And so we got that in there. One more go, probably one or two more goes. Yeah, we're fine to get the rest of that lemon juice in there. Give it a good old whisk. And now you might say, well, that doesn't look like lemon curd, and you know, besides it's got raw egg yolks in there. Well, here's the deal. We're going to cook those egg yolks, but very slowly over a bain-marie, which is a hot water bath, or you can use a double boiler if you have one. Okay, so that will be next. So what I've done is heat some water in a saucepan, and I got it boiling, and then I turned it right down to low and put the cover on in anticipation of the next part. So I'm going to take that cover off, and I'm going to put our bowl of, well, our ingredients for the lemon curd on top here. That's why it's kind of good to have a stainless steel bowl, because you can put it on top. Now, again, if you have a double boiler, you can do this in a double boiler. Now, we want to keep the heat really low, because we want to get this to start to just bubble, but we need to keep stirring it constantly. So this becomes a little bit of an issue. So we need to keep that heat kind of low. I'm going to turn it up because I am standing right here. So every once in a while you got to stop stirring so you can see if it's bubbling. right? But you're right there, you know, don't go wandering off, don't go washing some dishes, don't go doing anything else, because, you know, if you heat this too fast and it, you know, and it cooks too fast, what'll happen is it will scramble those egg yolks in there, and you're effectively making scrambled, like sweet scrambled eggs, right? I mean, yeah, and you know, right, sweet lemony scrambled eggs instead, so it won't be smooth, it'll be all chunky. And yeah, you don't want chunkiness, you know, you don't want sort of, yeah, curd. It almost looks like, yeah, like cottage cheese curds and stuff in there, and oh yeah, the consistency, it would take, maybe the flavor would be good, but the consistency would not be good. So I am just waiting to see. So I just take it off to see, because I'm constantly stirring this. And if you're constantly stirring it, you're kind of retarding the bubbles from happening. So you're moving it around. And the reason why, because if I stop stirring, the bottom of that now is getting more heat than obviously the top. You see what I mean? So we want to keep stirring that around so that it evenly heats through the whole amount of that lemon curd. Okay, a whole amount of this, well, it's not lemon curd yet, but this whole amount of this mixture. And so, yeah, so there, here we have it. And remember, I haven't finished with that margarine that's in my fridge freezer either. It's coming, but not at this stage. Because what ends up happening, I'm going to give you a clue. Because what, you know, clue you in on that. Because when we take this off the heat, when it's at the point we want, we take this off the heat and we put that cold margarine in there, stir it in, and that will retard the, you know, the egg yolks from starting to do their scrambling business. Because you take anything off the heat, it still continues to cook, because the pan or the bowl it is in or whatever, it's still got heat, right? So whatever food is in there is still cooking. Like if you bake cookies and you take them out of the oven and you leave them on the cookie sheet for a few minutes to cool, well, in that period of time, they're still technically cooking on the bottom, because the heat from that pan is still kind of cooking them. So, you know, right? So the same kind of principle applies with this. If I were just to take this off the heat and not put anything cold in here with it, like the butter, or in this case margarine, then those egg yolks will continue to cook. And I want to stop their cooking once, right at the point that I want to stop this. I don't want it to go any further than that point. And you can see that it kind of goes foamy a little bit, and that's okay. You know, you kind of like, oh, it's kind of foamy. It's not all clear. That's okay. A lot of the commercial lemon curds that you buy are really quite, you know, they're very clear looking, you know. Okay, stop that a little too long here. Just careful. They're really kind of clear, right? And they're, you know, they're very, you could almost see through them, you know, right? But they put some stuff in that to clarify them, you know, right? They do that to clarify it. So there's all kinds of little tricks they have. If you buy a more like, if you could buy it and eat it, like I used to before I had to be dairy free, buy a lemon curd that's made the traditional way. It is more whitish, like it has more of that creamy look to it rather than being clear, you know. So yeah, because yeah, so they just do it aesthetically. And they also add other food colorings in it to make the yellow color pop right out, and they do all of those funny things. So a lot of foods, you know, a lot of the food industry does some wonderful things to make things look more appealing and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth, right? We eat with our eyes first. And so the food industry has done all kinds of weird things to try to make things more appealing to people, what they look like, so that they'll be more inclined to eat them, right? So yeah, so, but sometimes it's not the traditional way of doing it, and not traditional, right? So, and I think that they make their lemon curd too sweet, way too much sugar, but that's a, you know, This one has sweetness, but it definitely is tart. But then all lemon curd has some tartness to it. But, you know, so you're not really making jam here. You're making something that's like more, you know. This is, I find lemon curd is more tart than marmalade. I love marmalade. But the thing is, marmalade, there's a lot of sweetness, and then you hit a piece of tart, you know, peel, like orange peel in there, or lemon, or whatnot, and that's where you get the tart from it. It's like the little pieces of tart suspended in the sweet, you know, right? So that's kind of what marmalade does. This is like all uniform, right? You get it all the same all the way through. Come on. If you want to see what your water's doing down there, you can, but I got to be really careful not to burn my fingers when I do that. So, because I don't think it's boiling, but although I can hear it. If I'm really quiet, I can hear this. So, as you can see, it's not scrambled. Those egg yolks haven't scrambled. You know, I'm keeping it from heating too fast and making them kind of go all kind of weird curds, like almost like you're making cottage cheese or something, which is no good. If you do that, then it pretty much ruins it. I mean, you could technically probably still eat it, but it wouldn't have that nice smooth mouthfeel, right? So what you're expecting for how it's the consistency, right? So a lot of things with taste, it isn't just the taste of things. It's the mouthfeel. Like how does it feel in your mouth when you're eating something? You know, so there's a lot of things when it comes to taste, how things smell, how things feel, as well as how they actually taste. It all comes together. And before all of that, like I say, you eat with your eyes first, right? So a lot of the time, you know, if it doesn't look good to us, we're like, you know, like some people don't like clam chowder or something like that. I remember that from years ago. I always liked clam chowder, but some people really have an aversion because the little parts of the clam almost look like little mini eyes looking at them in the clam chowder, and they're not really looking at them, but they just get this feeling that something like this little creature is looking at them, and yeah, and that just really puts people off. Sometimes it puts people really off. So in that case, that they can't get past seeing that, and so that's what I mean. We eat with our eyes first. That's why it's a little bit of a tricky thing. Like what we're going to do is coat the back of a wooden spoon. That's pretty good. We're almost there. That water's going full tilt boogie down there. I think it is. Okay, that is getting wonderfully. They're turning that down. That's getting more thick. I can tell that that's thickening. So you want that to slightly thicken, even though I haven't had it bubbling like nuts or anything like that. I know that that's thickening now. We are good. Pretty much almost there. Finally, right? This is like you have to be a little bit patient. So is that coating the back of a spoon? I would say that it is. I think we're nearly there, to be honest with you. And I can feel that that's a little bit thicker. You don't want it to be super thick at this point, but I can feel that that's a bit thicker. So what I'm going to do is turn that heat right off. You know, because I do not, at this stage, after spending all this time with it, I do not want this to start doing some weird stuff. So I'm going to take that off the heat right now. And we'll go to the next stage. Okay, so next we've got this off the heat. And what we're going to do, see, and you can see that it's already like starting to thicken. But now we're going to add that cold margarine to it. So I'm literally going to just flip that right in there and get that cold margarine in there. And that's going to take a bit to get it to start melting in there. But you can see where it's pretty tough. So I'm just going to break it up a little bit, the end of my whisk. And we're going to incorporate that in. Okay, so here we go. We are like, that margarine is in there. We are whisking it in good. Make sure it melts right, like the margarine melts right in it. But the action of that cold margarine stops the curd from cooking. So, you know, basically you've now stopped it from doing its cooking process by adding that cold margarine in there. So that's exactly how they do it when they use, you know, traditionally make lemon curd is they use cold butter, but of course we had to use cold margarine. So there we go. And that's what you see. It's pretty thick now, right? So what we're going to do is, let me get my whisk out of there. Here, I'll just set it aside over here. And I'm going to get a little container. I like to put it in a glass one. And I'm going to just spoon it in there. Come on. There we go. It's kind of messy, but there you go. And we're going to put that cover, got a cover for it right like this. And I'm going to put it in the fridge because you can't use this until this is 100% cooled off. Like you can't like use this to fill cakes or something like that as a cake filling unless it is 100% cooled off, because otherwise, you know, it just won't work. But I also like to have it 100% cooled off before I even use it on toast or anything like that. It will keep in the fridge for up to a week, or you can freeze it for up to a month. So what I like to do is quite often I will let this completely cool in the fridge. Then I will take about half of it out and half of the amount of this in here out, and then put that half in my freezer, and then I have enough, you know, for a week, and then next week kind of thing. And then you could make it every couple of weeks if you wanted. You could double the recipe and make more, and then you'd have enough for a whole month, like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, because you're doing it, you know. So I like to make it that way. So we're going to let that cool, and after that's cooled completely, I will show you how it looks when you're eating it with something lovely. I've got some lovely plans for this. So our lemon curd is completely cooled off, and as you can see, like that is nice and thick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some on a gluten-free brownie because I love the taste of lemon and chocolate together. I don't know about you, but I really like it. So that's how I'm going to eat this one. And I really hope you enjoyed the lemon curd and you enjoy it for many years to come now that you know how to make your own. So there you have it, some lemon curd. I'm having mine on that brownie. It's a gluten-free brownie with the dairy-free lemon curd that we just made. And I really hope that you enjoyed this lemon curd. And I thank you so much for coming to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen today. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye for now.